You have a favorite color, right? Of course you do. But what if that simple choice, that color you're drawn to, could actually reveal something a little darker about who you are? Well, today, we're diving headfirst into a fascinating and kind of provocative theory called chromatic shadows. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with what everyone kind of knows about colors and personality. Then, we'll get into the juicy stuff, the chromatic shadow theory itself. We'll look at a few examples, and then we'll wrap up by figuring out what it all really means for you and me. All right, first up, let's talk about what we think we know. We've all heard this stuff before, right? The idea that your favorite color says something fundamental about your personality. So go ahead, think about it for a second. What's your color? And what good things come to mind when you think about it? For years, we've had these really simple and usually pretty positive links between colors and who we are. For instance, if you love the color blue, you've probably been told you're calm, loyal, stable, a pillar of serenity.
And what if red is your jam? Well, then you must be passionate, full of energy, a real force of nature.
And if you're a green person, that means you're all about harmony, balance, and growth. It all sounds so neat and tidy, doesn't it? But what if that's only half the story? The artist Wassily Kandinsky once said that color is a power which directly influences the soul. And he was onto something. It's not just for decoration. It's a force that hits us on a really deep level. And as we're about to see, that influence is way more complicated than we think. Okay, now it's time to flip the whole script. Let's dive into the hidden meanings, the other side of the coin. This is the core idea of the chromatic shadow theory. It proposes that our favorite color doesn't just represent our best qualities, it might also be a clue to the negative traits we're trying to hide, or maybe even overcompensating for. So when we say shadow side, what are we actually talking about? Well, we're getting into what psychologists call dark personality traits, things like being manipulative or emotionally cold or always putting yourself first. This theory draws a startling line between those traits and the colors we love. So, how does this actually play out? Let's get specific and look at a few case studies based on the theory. This is where it gets really interesting. First up, the color red. It's bold, it's popular, it's powerful. We think we know what it means, but what's hiding in its shadow? So we usually see red and think passion, energy, love. But the shadow theory flips that around and says, what if it's really about manipulation, aggression, or even rage? You see, it's the same intense energy, just expressed in a much, much darker way. And listen to this quote from the source material. It's pretty chilling. The red preference can signal a mind that uses the performance of passion to mask a calculated drive for control. Whoa. So is that big display of passion real, or is it just a performance to get what they want? Okay, now let's switch gears to a color that feels totally safe. Blue. The calm, cool, collected one. Or is it? This is a perfect example of how the theory works. You take a positive trait like calmness and you push it to its extreme. What do you get? Emotional detachment. That stability can turn into coldness. That sense of trust can become just apathy. This quote really drives it home. The idea is that for some people, loving blue isn't about finding peace. It's about creating an emotional void, a quiet place to hide from the messy, complicated reality of actually connecting with other people. It's not peace, it's just emptiness. And finally, let's talk about a color that already has a bit of a reputation. Black. It's sophisticated, right? It's elegant, it's powerful, but it's also got that air of mystery. So yeah, on the surface, black is all about sophistication and power, but its shadow side is intense. That power could twist into authoritarian control. The mystery can become toxic secrecy. And that elegance, it could be masking a deep, empty nihilism. So, just to do a super quick recap here, the theory suggests that for every positive trait we link to a color, there's a potential dark side hiding underneath. Red's passion can hide manipulation. Blue's calmness can hide apathy, and black's sophistication can hide a dangerous need for control. Okay, so what are we supposed to do with all this? Is your favorite color some kind of personality death sentence? Absolutely not. Let's talk about what this really means and how you can use this as a tool for reflection, not as a final judgment. It really boils down to 3 key things. First, and this is the most important one, this is a theory. It's a way of thinking, not a scientific personality test. Second, use it as a tool. A way to reflect. Ask yourself, hey, does my love for calm blue sometimes make me avoid tough emotions? And third, just use it to understand your own contrasts. Because that's the real takeaway here. This isn't about labeling people good or bad. It's about recognizing that we're all complex. We all have a light side and a shadow side. And understanding both is what real self-awareness is all about. So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time you pick out an outfit, or paint a wall, or just notice your eye being drawn to a certain color, take a second and wonder, what am I really revealing about myself right now?